This is a site that Philadelphia fans unfortunately know all too well this weekend. Less than 48 hours ago, a weather delay for the Eagles and Cowboys on Thursday night. Now as we get ready to celebrate Casey Keeler's home opener guiding the 1-0 Temple Owls, a line of severe weather has moved into the Philadelphia area, and they have sent folks underneath for cover as lightning has been detected. And as we look at the radar, a long line of storms, some severe, slowly working their way into the city of brotherly love. So we are in a weather delay. Howard and Temple, just the second meeting all time between these two programs. Both teams riding high with optimism after week one wins, but we will have to wait a little while. Right now, a half-hour delay. We're looking at a 2:30 Eastern time kick, but again, that's if there is no more lightning strikes in the area. Weather delay from Philadelphia, Temple, and Howard. watching the American on ESPN. After a half-hour weather delay, a new era of Temple football is underway, and Casey Keeler wasted no time bringing winning football back to 10th and Diamond. After a road win at UMass last weekend, the Owls get their first chance to unveil Temple Tough to the home fans in Philly as they welcome Howard out of the MEAC to Lincoln Financial Field. And a pleasant good afternoon. Sean Kinney alongside Jay Sunhalter. Great to have you with us. I'll tell you what, hope abounds with these two teams, Jay, after week one wins. Temple snapped the nation's longest road losing skid at 20 games, while on the other side, Howard celebrated their first season opening win since 2017.
And Howard getting off that to a walk-off victory with the field goal as time expired, and for the victory for Temple last week showed a lot on the offensive side and defensive side, playing complementary football.
There is plenty of new in the Temple offense, as evident last week. Tyler Walker was the offensive coordinator at Montana State a year ago. He had one of the most prolific offenses in the country. He brings that run-first mentality across the country to Temple, and he has the feature back to get it done.
Yeah, he wants to win up front, and with his running back, Jay Ducker, he feels like he's a guy that he can depend on to get the tough yardage. He's physical, and he's got the home run speed, average over 6 yards per carry in their victory last weekend.
They will need those tough yards today because a new defensive approach really stood out for Howard last week, and All-American candidate Noah Miles poised to have a huge year.
He flashes on film, on the edge. He's got the first step quickness to get into the backfield, and Temple's going to have to find a way to slow him down, chip him, and keep him out of the backfield.
We are not out of the woods yet as far as Mother Nature. Right now, partly cloudy, 86 degrees, but there is a line of weather slowly working its way back into the Philadelphia metro area. A half-hour delay. This game originally scheduled for a 2:02 Eastern kick. Lightning right before the teams are ready to meet the captains at midfield. But here we go, ready to get it started. Just the second meeting all time between the Bison of the MEAC and the Temple Owls. Casey Keeler back in the part of the country where it all started for him. Howard won the toss. They elected to defer, so it will be Temple to get things started. Tyler Stewart out past the 25 up to the 28-yard line. Year two for starter Evan Simon, but for the first time as the incumbent. The Mountjoy native came off the bench last year to start 9 games for Temple, but this year he was pushed hard late in camp with the arrival of Oregon State transfer Giovanni McCoy. Simon certainly lived up to the billing when you look at what he did last week. 6 touchdown passes in his debut for Coach Casey Keeler.
Yeah, very impressive, and I think the biggest thing for Coach Keeler was he protected the football. 0 interceptions. And this is an offense that he believes has a lot of talent, but they have to play clean.
Simon in this offense from the 28. They will get the ground game going, and a big hole opens up for the Sam Houston transfer, Jay Ducker. Good yards over the right side following Jackson Pruitt and Diego Barajas, gain of 10.
And that's how they want to start it off, being physical up in the trenches and setting that line of scrimmage to help open up the play-action pass.
We'll see a lot of different pre-snap motion, a lot of different tempo from the Owls with offensive coordinator Tyler Walker. Same play, hesitation, and a good surge up to the 45.
This is an offensive line that's very athletic. They run a lot of zone schemes, they run power as well. It's important for Ducker just to be patient, let that line set the edge before he makes a cut.
3 returning starters on that offensive line up the middle with the 2 guards, Eric King and Jackson Pruitt, the center, Grayson Mays. A lot of heavy tight end personnel as well, and right now it's power football for Temple as they flex their muscle. Ducker picks up 4 and a first down.
For this Howard defense, they watched the film last week, and their #1 goal was to stop the run, try to get penetration. So I'd expect them to try to bring extra men into the box, different blitzing schemes to slow down the running game.
This is a statement right now by the Owls against really the strength of the Howard defense, the interior front 5 that they go with. Simon the throw for the first time, nothing open, so he will tuck and run. This is an underrated part of his game. Very elusive, very smart with the football as he scrambles for 9.
And he can hurt you with his legs. The defense doing a good job in coverage. The O-line protecting up front, clean pocket. And Simon just realizing, hey, let me take off and pick up positive yards.
Quavian Smith in on that stop for Howard. See who's going to step up defensively for the Bison right now. Good looking drive to start this one today in Philadelphia. On that read option, a late give to Ducker, who's been busy, and he dives ahead. Third first down in this opening drive as the Owls keep pounding 4 more for Ducker.
Howard bringing an extra defender down in the box, guessing run, and Temple still able to get enough push up front.
It's a Howard defense last year that played really well. They contained one of the best running backs in the SWAC in Thad Franklin for FAMU. They really contained him. Having a tough go early. Here's the penetration they were looking for, and there is nowhere to go. Cam Dyson and Noah Miles, the preseason All-American, converging in the backfield.
And Dyson, 6'3", 230 pounds, using that quickness along with Miles off the edge. That's the game plan today, is win up front, get penetration, and win with leverage, staying underneath the pad level of the Owls offensive line.
Miles, the senior from Tampa, Florida. There's a strong pipeline from the Sunshine State for head coach Larry Scott, who grew up a Florida native, Sebring, Florida. Loss of 4 has Temple behind the chains for the first time. Simon, wide open receiver downfield, making the catch. This is Halloween, and it will be first down inside the red zone. A breakdown in the coverage. Chandler, the safety, coming over, but he was way late.
This is an excellent job by Tyler Walker, using the run to set up the pass. A late motion creates a wide open lane for the throw from Simon Holloway, just sitting on the sideline. This Temple offense doing a good job keeping the defense on their heels.
Week after throwing for 248 yards against UMass, Simon completes his first pass of the day, good for 27. Depleted secondary for the Bison. They are without Anthony Bivens, their starting safety. Late scratch. Simon, a play fake. Pocket collapsing, and so does he as he manages to pick up a yard or 2. Israel Lucas, who was a game-time decision as well. He was under the weather this week and on the tackle.
And it's a big get, having Lucas ready for this ball game, right in the interior of the defensive line. And Sean, you saw that pre-snap motion. It's so important for this defense to stay disciplined. They're good in coverage. There's really nowhere for Simon to run the ball.
Sean Jarrett, in his first year as Howard's defensive coordinator, talked about the eye discipline necessary. All the pre-snap motion that Temple likes to run. Cut back lane, slipping free to the 5, into the end zone. Therese Worthy for the touchdown.
Now 9 rushes on this opening drive, and Worthy with the vision. Starts off on the right side. It was just an inside zone. Saw the wall. Instead of running towards it, cuts it back. There was a wide open lane. Good job by that left side of the offensive line staying on their blocks.
Power football from this offensive line. A 9-play, 72-yard drive. Therese Worthy with his first rushing touchdown of the year. One of the returning skill players back for Temple from a year ago.
And Temple wanted to run the football. They wanted to set the pace up front. Their offensive line's getting off to a good start. 9 rushes so far in this drive, and Worthy finishes it off with a nice cutback for a TD.
There was a little extra spark in our conversation with Larry Scott yesterday, year 5 in the nation's capital for the Florida native. He feels, Jay, he's built the roster full of depth and toughness, and he's ready with this squad to win a MEAC title this year.
Yeah, and the recruiting job that they were able to do, they've scoured all throughout the country to bring in guys that are a good fit for this program, and getting off to a good start is so important to build confidence. And the way they are able to beat Florida A&M last week with a final drive and a field goal to win the game, they felt really good about their preparation coming into this game.
Such a huge win for the program in the Blossom Classic. First time that Howard had opened up the season with a win since 2017, but they have their work cut out as their offense gets ready to go to work. And Tyreek Starks, the transfer from Florida Atlantic, ironically, this is the second straight year that he has taken snaps at this stadium. Last year, he came off the bench for FAU in an 18-15 Temple win. He ended up starting the final 2 games last year for Florida Atlantic, hit the transfer portal this offseason, looked like he was going to head to Jackson State, changed his mind after spring ball, and Larry Scott certainly happy to land him in Washington, D.C. From the 25, and confusion pre-snap for Howard.
Full start. Offense, everybody but the center, 5-yard penalty, first down.
And as Howard's lining up here, everybody moves except for the center. Just a little confusion up front on the opening play.
Travis Kearney will start the game as the tailback. He flanks Starks to the right, 4 receivers to the right side, 1st and 15. This will be the talented young freshman Kearney as he gets back close to the original line of scrimmage. The Howard offense a week ago that really struggled. They only had 195 yards of total offense against the Rattlers, but in the clutch, executing the 2-minute drill to perfection, setting up that game-winning field goal.
And Larry Scott learned a lot about his team facing adversity. How are you going to overcome it? And the game plan didn't go the way they wanted to early on that game. They executed at the end, but they know they've got to be able to run the football here today.
That first down penalty is something they have to desperately try to avoid, working behind the sticks. Downfield throw and blanket coverage, no room to work. That was Ben Osweke. Coverage looking for Andre Cooper.
And this is a very athletic secondary for Temple. And Howard finding one-on-one coverage on the outside, trying to highlight it. Both guys jawing back and forth with each other.
3rd down and long, pressure off the edge. Starks with some room to run. He's going to improvise, lowers the pads. Big collision near the sticks, and this should be good enough for the first down. That's the dimension that Tyreek Starks can bring, and you love to see him finishing a run early in the game like that.
He took a shot last week against Florida A&M, similar play where he's just fighting for the extra yardage, and there he's not shying away from contact. He's seeking it, staying in bounds, lowering his shoulder, and as a leader of his team, that's where his teammates feed off of that physical toughness that he brings.
Scramble of 12 yards, and it keeps the drive alive. Javier Morton lowered the boom. Running to the boundary side. Again, this is Kearney, but it's stretched out well. There's nowhere to go. That was Osweke again.
And Howard trying to find success on the perimeter, using those quick sweeps to the outside to try to set the edge and attack the defensive backs in the running game for Temple.
It's a fairly inexperienced offensive line. They brought in a couple of transfers at the 2 tackle positions this year. Their anchor is the center, who's not in there right now, and Tim Artis, he was under the weather and was going to be a game time decision. Bootleg right for Starks, and he has nowhere to go with it. Good coverage again, this time looking for CJ Neely. And if you're Howard and Scott and company, you just can't be in these 3rd and long situations and have a successful day today.
Yeah, they knew they had to find ways to pick up positive yards on 1st and 2nd down to limit these 3rd and longs. And right now it's going to be important to try to get Starks out on the edge, get him away from the pass rush at Temple, and try to get him in a situation where he can throw it or try to pick it up with his legs.
Howard team really struggled down the stretch last year. They closed the season with a mark of 4-8. They want to make sure everybody's on the same page. The Bison used their first time out. 8:01 to go, first quarter. Temple with the early lead.
A 43-yard attempt from the Cho-Win transfer. Matt Connard. Here's the ball game. The kick is up, and it's through! Howard with the win!
The heroics last week from Matt Connard and from our fantastic broadcast duo, Tiffany Green, Jay Walker. Can you guess which one was the Howard alum and which one was the FAMU alum?
They were excited.
They were. Jay maybe a little bit more excited. 3rd down and 9, downfield, dangerous throw, nearly intercepted. Swayke had his hands on it, and after picking up a first down, Howard is going to be forced to punt.
And this Temple defense doing a good job of being relentless up front. Trying to get after Starks. The blitz coming in late. Swayke. Starks gets away from him, but then throws it in harm's way. Lucky that wasn't intercepted.
Defense played well last week, especially after the first quarter. UMass scored on their first couple of possessions. There was some sloppy tackling, but Brian Smith-Sponge cleaned that up from the second quarter on, and the route was on in Amherst as Temple steamrolled UMass to snap the nation's longest road losing skid. They had dropped 20 straight games on the road prior to that win last weekend, and had to go back to September of 21 against Akron, the last time they had a pretty happy bus trip home. Go back to this opening drive for Temple, and they did a lot of it on the ground, starting with Simon and the scrambling ability.
Yeah, smooth drive, and Simon directing the ship. couple nice passes over the top and busting coverage, and then they finished it off on the ground. This was an excellent job by the offensive line creating lanes.
Ducker, 4 carries, 26 yards on that opening drive. They go empty set. They'll hand it off. Simon will keep it after the fake on the jet sweep. Stumbles his way up close to the 45-yard line. Pickup of 6 for Evan Simon. Grew up in Mount Joy, Pennsylvania. Started his career at Rutgers. Actually started a couple of games in the Big Ten. Made the decision to transfer last year. Came off the bench. Started 9 games, actually led the Owls with over 2,000 yards passing, and then had quite a battle this summer with Giovanni McCoy. 2nd down and 4, and a juggling catch reeled in, and then some spins for good measure from Therese Worthy. They'll push into plus territory and a 1st down.
Worthy showing his talent. He ran the ball on the last drive for a touchdown. Now AC Keeler and his staff using him in the passing game. Simon so assertive, knowing exactly where he wanted to go with the ball.
Worthy had more receptions than rushes last week for Casey Keeler, and he is fully healthy. Just a dynamic scat back type player out of the backfield. It's a nice change of pace when you look at Worthy and Ducker. Simon picking up where he left off a week ago, 2 for 2 in this first quarter for 50 yards. First touch of the day for Colin Chase, and a good open field tackle is made. Coming up that time was Kedrick Green.
Colin Chase, he's a vertical threat in the passing game. They'll use him on those jet sweeps, trying to get him out on the perimeter. Howard's defense not having success on 1st down. Temple doing a good job picking up positive yards.
Life gets a lot easier when you're looking at 2nd and 4, 2nd and 5. Averaging close to 6 yards on the ground in this opening period. Sets up a 3rd down. This will be the first 3rd down. They've been so good on 1st and 2nd down. Now the Owls looking at their first 3rd down opportunity here.
Howard's defense rotating a couple defensive linemen. They'll play 7 or 8 on that front, and they're trying to stay fresh, especially on these long drives, and this is the critical down where they have to get a pass rush.
They played 4 linebackers last week. They played 9 along that defensive line, and there's not a big drop-off. It is 1A and 1B for Larry Scott in this defense, and that's why he's so excited. 3rd down and 3, right up the middle, Pile driving ahead, and it looks like, judging by the spot, that will be enough. Smith the tackle, Ducker picks up 3, and a 3rd down conversion for the Owls.
And Temple going with power football, 2 tight ends in the ball game, just running it right at the teeth of the defense. Ducker doing a good job staying low and falling forward for the 1st down.
Quick moving opening quarter, a game that started a half hour late because of weather, and we're still under the threat of some weather as we move into the early evening. Play fake, Simon takes a shot, post route, touchdown! JoJo Bermudez, 24 yards.
Two drives, 2 touchdowns, 1 on the ground, and Bermudez, big day last week, 7 catches. He's their go-to guy through the air. Clean pocket. Simon gets hit as he throws, and that speed of Bermudez getting behind the secondary, that ball just falls in his lap.
Bermudez in his first year at Temple, the transfer from Delaware. His first touchdown. And Casey Keeler told us yesterday the arrival of Colin Chase and JoJo Bermudez really changed the dimensions of this offense. They have some vertical threats, and they are using them through the first couple of weeks. The American on ESPN Plus is home to over 40 college football games, over 1,000 exclusive live events, and every American Conference championship throughout the entire season. For more information and to sign up, visit streamespn.com. JoJo Bermudez spent the last couple of years with Delaware. Had 2 really productive years. Announced his transfer after hauling in 25 passes a season ago in only 6 games. He missed the final 5 games because of an injury, and Casey Keeler going back to his old stomping ground to land Bermudez, and he has been a wonderful addition to this offense and what Tyler Walker wants to do as the offensive coordinator.
And he's a deep threat in this offense, and a multi-talented player that's tough going over the middle, but he's the guy with the play-action pass, and those linebackers and safeties are looking in the backfield. He can go past them, take it the distance, and that's exactly what happened on that touchdown catch.
Big series here for Starks and the Bison just to give this defense a breather. Temple offense on fire. They've been on the field 15 plays. They've already registered 8 first downs, a couple of touchdowns, averaging 9 yards per play. Stark will try to take some of the starch out of them, floats it downfield, and there's just been no separation for the Howard wide receivers, and that really was the case last week as well against the Raptors.
Yeah, and the secondary for Temple right now doing a good job staying in coverage, and the pass rush collapsing on Starks, having to get rid of it, and that ball too far out in front. They need to hit on one of these big plays to try to get this offense jump-started.
Stark still looking for his first completion. Start of the day 0 for 4. 3 receivers right, 1 left, 2nd down and 10. A flip on that shovel sweep. Coming near side is Antonio Hunter. He is a true freshman, and the speed of Temple closing the gap. Curly Ordonez, the junior from Fort Lauderdale, coming off a strong game a week ago.
And multiple hats coming over for the Howls, and here's Ordonez getting off the block and being very physical from his linebacker position.
He was given the nickname Curly by his Pee-wee coaches back in the day. He had curly hair. The coach remembered that. He says, "You're curly." Pressure comes, and Starks is sacked. Right up the middle with the pressure. That is Sekou Chroma.
Brian Smith, the defensive coordinator for Temple, bringing a design blitz, and Chroma just coming right up the middle, finishing it off.
Defense, more than 11 players on the field, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Break here for Howard as Temple had 12 in the huddle. Wipe out the sack for Chroma, and a second opportunity for the Bison. Let's see if they can take advantage of it.
Well, I'd expect the same thing for Temple, bringing pressure, trying to collapse down on Starks, and it's going to be important right now for Howard. You have to expect blitz. You have to give time for Starks and try to let him get out of the pocket and do something with his legs or throw it on the run.
We're going to have to hustle up. Play clock down to 5 when they break huddle. Eden James is checked into the game for the first time, and Starks just did get the snap off, or did he? Timeout, Howard. Larry Scott saw the play clock dwindling.
Howard, their second charge timeout of the half. This will be a 30-second timeout.
And he is forced to burn his second timeout in this opening quarter. Howard coming off a season in which they went 4-8. They went 1-4 in the MEAC, and when you take a look at the preseason poll, not a lot of respect for the boys from DC. Predicted 5th, and there's some new blood in this conference this year, mainly with the coaches. Deshaun Jackson taking over, Michael Vick as well, Delaware State, Norfolk State, South Carolina State, the team to beat right now according to the experts in the preseason.
And I think that was an important victory for Howard last week against Florida A&M to get off to a good start, because this conference, with that new leadership, there's high expectations, and Howard has a lot to prove this season.
Delaware State, Norfolk State, Vick and Jackson's teams will actually meet here on October 30th at Lincoln Financial Field and an HBCU Classic on ESPN. Third down after the timeout, work to do after the catch. Zayden Jackson hauls it in. London Hall was right there. Hall, the redshirt junior from St. Pete, and the punting unit out for Howard.
And for Starks, he's trying to go for the big play, goes underneath to Jackson, and then the closing speed of Hall, just keeping it in front and tracking it down. This defense, very impressive on all three levels.
Liam Allen on the punt for the second time. 27-yarder on his first try. Dangerous return man, and Tyler Stewart awaiting the kick at the 30. Short kick on the run is Stewart, and he is torpedoed down as a flag flies along the Temple sideline. Let's see what the flag is all about.
During return, holding, number 86, return team, 10-yard penalty, first down.
This will sack Keeler's group back following the return by Stewart. So Jay, if you're Howard, this is a Temple offense. It's clicking on the first two offensive drives. What do you expect from the Bison now? What adjustment to try to slow them down?
You've got to regroup, and you see the numbers. Everything is clicking for Temple. I think the biggest thing is you have to take away something, and I think you've got to load the box up, bring an extra defender down to try to slow down the running game, especially on first and second down, and force the Owls into more third and long situations.
Derek Brown, the big interior tackle, and he has some help up front. Jason Seraphin. They've been getting pushed around early. Noah Miles, C.J. Wesley along that front for Howard. Still getting the penalty figured out on the return. Looks like they're going to spot it at the 25. 2:46 to go in this opening quarter. The home opener for Temple, fresh off a road win at UMass a week ago. On first down, look at the vision and the cut. Worthy into the secondary, all the way to the 39-yard line. 36 yards, Worthy with the explosion. And a first down run for Temple.
Outstanding work up front by the offensive line. It allows Worthy with another cutback inside zone. And that speed of Worthy is special and can get to the second level and can pick up those big gains.
Told the media before the start of the season, this is as healthy as he has been coming into this campaign. Back-to-back touches. He ducks underneath the missile that was Derek Brown, who went right over the top of him. You go back to Worthy this offseason, he was battling upper body injuries. It sidelined him for the entire spring, but he used that time to make sure the body was where it needed to be come fall camp. And last week as a receiver out of the backfield, today both as a receiver and a runner.
And he's very versatile in this offense with his skills, whether it's running the ball or through the air. The coaching staff wants to find different ways to get him the ball.
Second down, Simon will take a shot. It's the big tight end making the catch, and it's first and goal. Peter Clark, it's 6 feet 6 inches, 270 pounds, still learning the game from London, England.
A great job from Simon, looking over towards the left, little head nod to Worthy, and then he comes back to Clark, going right up the seam, and this is a tight end that's going to have a special year in this offense. Tyler Walker loves to use the tight ends, and what Peter Clark can do controlling the middle of the field with his frame. He's too fast for linebackers, too big for safeties. He had a big week last week against UMass.
Best game of his career, 4 catches, a couple of touchdowns. Simon on fire to start this game. Play fake, lobs it, Chase with the grab, touchdown. And Temple pouring it on early.
play calling and running the football, the misdirection. Simon controlling this huddle, and Casey Keeler has to be very pleased. Watch from the view, the fake play action. And Colin Chase sneaking out. No one there on the perimeter. Right now, the confidence level for the Owls, it all starts running the football, and then it opens up the passing game.
Colin Chase, one of 47 new faces that Keeler brought into this program this offseason. Out of St. Thomas, Minnesota, he earned the distinction of being a single digit here in Temple.
Yeah, and one of the hardest workers on the team, a leader, gets that touchdown, sneaking out the backfield. Simon leading the offense, and no one there as he easily trots into the end zone.
Evan Simon, perfect in this first quarter. 5 for 5, 112 yards, couple of touchdowns. Bermudez and now Chase with the touchdown receptions. Casey Keeler really has built that reputation for winning no matter wherever he goes, and he has done it in some tough situations. He navigated the turbulent waters with Sam Houston, making that transition from FCS power to FBS in his final season, winning 10 games and leading him to a bowl game.
And it's evident when we talked with him this week, Sean, just the confidence he gives his players, the trust that he gives them, and just the ownership as a player that he's going to listen to them. And it's evident this team is really responding well to his leadership.
32 years of coaching for Keeler. He's only had 4 losing seasons in those 32 years. He took Rowan in Division III in New Jersey to title games on 4 different occasions. He won an FCS title with Delaware, did it again with Sam Houston, and now just trying to bring back the winning culture to Temple. And he told us they can win here. They've done it in the past. They can do it again.
And with his past history, being a winner, these players knew coming in he was going to have a game plan of success. And, you know, it's something here with the past history of Temple winning big in the past. He's trying to bring it back and say, guys, hey, listen, we can do it just the same way that it was done before, but it starts with being tough and being disciplined.
Starks pressure right out of the gate. He will just launch near side, incomplete. No time to look downfield. He had pressure immediately from Cameron Stewart.
This defense being very physical, making it tough on Starks. The offense having trouble throwing the football last week, and same thing so far here in the first quarter because of that pass rush.
James, one of the top FCS running backs, yet to get a touch until now. Explosive back up past the 30, up to the 32. A gain of 7 for James, who is coming back from an injury that he sustained in the summer, and they're just slowly working him back because he can be a difference maker and a guy that you can ride to a MEAC title.
They want to get him into a rhythm, and it was a quick option getting to the outside, and this will be an important third down coming up for the Bisons.
1 quarter in the books. 10th and Diamond smiling right now. Casey Keeler has arrived, and this offense has been dynamite. Simon with a couple of touchdown passes. Bermudez, the transfer. Chase, all Temple after 1. The opportunity to come back to the part of the country where it all started for Casey Keeler. His playing days with Delaware, his coaching days with Rowan at Division III led Delaware to a national championship. Look at that. He even spent a year with me in the booth in 2013. I scared him back to the sidelines at Sam Houston, and now year one at 10th and Diamond in Philadelphia. Third down, and the throw underneath on the slant is caught. Terrific catch that time underneath. Ty Davis had the coverage. Braylon Smith able to reel it in. Second first down of this first half. A design draw for Starks. Not afraid of contact as he picks up two. And one of the players that he coached back in his days at Delaware, Joe Flacco, and he is getting ready to start and lead the Cleveland Browns tomorrow. Flacco was one of the many folks who reached out on social media once it was announced that Keeler was coming to Temple, just praising the hire for the Owls.
And a big impact on his career, and those two still maintain a close relationship. And going back to those teams, they were dominant at Delaware.
Flacco said Keeler took a chance on him when nobody would. And you see the career and what Flacco has been able to do. Eric Stewart, the stop for this Temple defense, setting up a third down. Another third down for Howard. 2 of 4 this afternoon. James checks out.
For Howard, they just have to continue to try to find ways to have success and be in third and short or third and medium situations for Larry Scott, who calls the plays for this offense.
FCS teams allowed to have the direct sideline to helmet communication for the first time. Third down and short. They move the pocket. Starks throws across the body, and it's caught. Dangerous throw, but he had enough zip on it. John Simmons, a 6'5" giant, true freshman from Myrtle Beach.
And they move it to the outside. Starks, difficult throw in between two defenders. There's gonna be a flag here.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 22, defense. 15-yard penalty will be added. Automatic. First down.
Eric Stewart late to the quarterback.
Well, this was impressive from Starks, and gets the late hit from Stewart as the ball's release comes in. And now this offense with the catch and the penalty. Ball's placed at the 31-yard line.
One thing we both were impressed with watching the film of Tyreek Starks, he has no fear. He hung in that pocket as long as he could a week ago, and he took shot after shot from FAMU. Has time, threads the needle over the middle, and it's first down inside the red zone. Perfect throw and strike to Antonio Hunter.
A strong arm and that deep dig. A couple completions last week against Florida A&M on that route, going right back to the well.
They go tempo after the 19-yard completion. This is Kearney chugging the legs, not going down. Working his way up near the 6 hard yards from Kearney.
And clean pocket for Starks. And he can get his feet set. You see how strong that throw is, right over the middle, and Hunter getting away from the cornerback. Nice job with separation to get open for his quarterback.
Really the first time in this half we've seen a little flow from the Howard offense. Second down, they bunch the receivers to the right. Handoff up the middle is to Anthony Reagan. This will be close to a first down. Reagan tripped up by Caton Supernot. There's an injured Temple player slow to get up as well. That's Avery Powell, the starting strong safety. Howard will have it first and goal, and the attention on the redshirt junior Powell. Powell in his first season transferred in from Missouri State out of the Missouri Valley Football Conference. Spent a couple of years there, had a productive season. Only 2 years ago, he was part of the Missouri Valley Football newcomer team. Started his collegiate career at Holy Cross, spent 1 season there before heading to Missouri State, and now becoming one of the mainstays in Keeler's secondary. Good to see him walk off on his own power.
A fumble recovery last week, and one of those guys in the back end with experience on this defense. And Casey Keeler and his staff really were pleased with the secondary, and he's one of the main guys on the back end for the Owls.
Ryan Smith, the defensive coordinator, was telling us yesterday when he showed up, they had 3 cornerbacks on scholarship in the secondary. It was that thin. Chance for Howard to get a little momentum on their side for the first time in this opening half. It's been a tough go so far from Philly. 1st and goal though, Tyreek Starks. Reagan, the running back. That's the tight end, Mosley, in motion. Starks will keep it, trying to drive near the goal line, but he is denied. Stood up by a wave of Owls. Allen Hay, one of these single digits, the first one to stand him up.
And there's just a wall there on the 1-yard line as Starks was fearless going in there, trying to push the pile, and multiple Owls coming back to make the stop.
Good-looking drive for the Bison, their 11th play of the drive. They're able to pick up that first down on that last carry, so now 1st and goal. Mosley again in motion. They're going to try to run behind him. Reagan picked up, and he is denied. Oh, he's a smaller back, and he was literally picked up into the air by Supernut. 2nd and goal.
And Supernut 6'2", 235 pounds. See number 18 kind of sift his way through, get to the outside, and clean things up. This defense very physical here on the goal line.
Keep in mind, a turning point last week for Temple was their goal line stand early in the first half against UMass. Can they do it again here? 2nd and goal. They will hand the ball off. James will get a crack at it, and it's the same result. There is just no crevice to be found. Ty Davis at the bottom of the pile. 3rd and goal.
I think Howard's going to have to go outside here. Temple loading things up. 9 defenders within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. There's just nowhere to run inside. They need to allow Starks to get outside on the perimeter and try to pick it up where there's more room to operate.
Chroma blowing up that play. Davis in on the tackle. James stays in the game. Larry Scott trying to find a way to get the first points on the board. Boys from DC, little run pass option, and there it is. Touchdown to the tight end, KD Mosley. What do you do when you need points? You put it with one of your more experienced players, the leader of this team, Tyreek Starks, and you trust him to make the play.
And this was a great play call. It looks like it's a run action up front, and then you just sneak Mosley out after he's faking blocking. Just sift him right to the middle. You have the illusion of a run. It's just a quick pop pass over the top.
Howard so desperately needed that drive, and it was an impressive one. They go 13 plays, 75 yards, a little more than 6.5 minutes off the clock. Starks with the soft touch, Mosley the touchdown, Howard on the board. Tyreek Stark simply wanted the opportunity to get on the field and play football. After 3 years at Florida Atlantic, he finally was able to get on the field late last year when Cam Fancher broke his collarbone in a November loss to East Carolina. Came off the bench in the Temple game a year ago, and then he started the next 2 weeks to close out the Florida Atlantic season. Had a huge game to close out the year against Tulsa, throwing for 295 yards, a program best 5 touchdowns. A coaching change with Herman dismissed. He did not see an opportunity in Boca Raton, so now here he is in Washington, D.C. Get all of ESPN college football all in one place with the all-new ESPN app. Unlock with the ESPN Unlimited plan or log in with your TV provider today. Well, if there's a time for Howard's defense to showcase that toughness and the physicality that they had on full display a week ago, this would be a good spot. They have not slowed down this Temple offense whatsoever. Simon and the Owls, 210 yards of offense. You see his ability to run, and then wisely goes into a protective slide after he gallops for double-digit yards.
And Simon's made such good decisions throwing the football. And this is very similar, except it's on the zone read, whether to hand it off or keep it. We saw the defensive end crashing down. There was a wide open lane to run around the edge, and he took it.
15 yards for Simon on first down. Looking against a 4-man front. Chase, who has a touchdown catch, gets the call on the sweep, picks up some nice perimeter blocking, and 10, 11 more yards for Colin Chase.
I like the way Tyler Walker is calling this game for the Owls. He's hit the defense vertically. He's gone to the perimeter. He's run the inside zone, just trying to keep them on their heels and really stretch out this defense, trying to figure out where the offense is trying to attack from.
Tyler Walker was such a key hire for Keeler. Those two really did not have a prior relationship. They met in 21 when Montana State beat Keeler's Sam Houston squad, and then kept in contact. But once this offseason hit, there was a phone call made. The more film you watched of Montana State, more coaches were impressed with what Walker was doing up there in Bozeman.
Well, and Casey Keeler is just an outstanding leader, but it's also about who you hire. And I think it was an excellent hire with Walker and Smith as his coordinators. And we met with the staff. It was just very impressive to hear them, you know, how they go about their side of the ball, what their vision is for the program.
Into plus territory again. Second down, pressure from the backside, and they're going to get to him for the first time. C.J. Wesley off the edge with the sack. It's a huge loss. Back to the 45, loss of 9.
The Bison finally making a big play with their pass rush. And Wesley just winning on the edge, dipping that shoulder down with speed, getting into the backfield.
Wesley's a veteran. He was part of the back-to-back MEAC title teams in 22 and 23, elected to use his red shirt last year. Part of the depth that they were so excited about up front. And now a timeout taken by Temple.
Timeout.
Howard looking for their first stop of the afternoon. Keeler's Owls in his home debut, leading by 14.
After a big performance against UMass, Evan Simon was named the American's Offensive Player of the Week in football. Simon completed 19 of 25 passes for 248 yards as he led Temple to its first road win since 2021 with a 42-10 victory at Massachusetts.
Thank you, Maria. And Simon certainly picking up where he left off at Amherst today. 5 for 5, 2 more touchdown passes. That's 8 touchdown passes, a little more than 5.5 quarters worth of football. 3rd down and 11. Get rid of it quickly to Colin Chase. Receiver screen, downfield blocking, and a 1st down. They needed 11. They pick up 13 to Chase, the redshirt junior, making an impact, finally corralled by Green.
The offensive line getting outside and clearing the path for Chase to pick it up.
Simon's numbers today after that completion, coming off a season last year in which he threw for over 2,000 yards. He was beat out a year ago by Brock Force. Now a keeper for Simon and another 1st down run up ahead to the 28-yard line. Forrest Brock got hurt early in the year a season ago, and that's when Temple made the move to Simon. He had his moments. He had a 6-touchdown game against Utah State. Really spent a ton of time in the offseason getting to know Tyler Walker and learning his philosophy, and spent a ton of time around the Olsen room, as we'll talk a little bit more about later on in this broadcast. 1st down, back shoulder throw, and it's incomplete as they were looking for Chase. Evan Simon meant so much to him to win the starting quarterback position this year in the battle with Giovanni McCoy that he decided to put up camp in the Olsen film room right there inside the Temple football facilities. That is an airbag, that is his pillow and a blanket, and you see the towel on the podium for the morning shower.
And we asked the staff, does he stay like every night or is it only a few nights? And they said no, every night. And you know, not only do you get extra film study there, but I think it shows your teammates your commitment to being great.
It's like the in-law room in the Kinney household. I get sent to the corner there with the air mattress. Usually they leave the air in the corner. He has to blow it up and deflate it each and every night.
His blanket looked pretty good over there.
He's put so much time into it. When he found out that he was going to be the starting quarterback, he let his parents know, he let his grandpa know, who shed some tears of joy when he found out. Pocket collapsing around him, trying to make good with not a lot to work with, and he's finally chased down. Keon Mitchell, the graduate transfer from San Diego State.
Yeah, this is a good job from the Bison defensive line, getting into the backfield, and you know, for Simon, you know, just picking up a couple yards there, setting up a field goal. The big key for him is not making the bad decision. 0 interceptions on the year, very wisely, not throwing the ball in harm's way. Allow your kicking unit to come out on the field and try to tack on 3 more.
Big shoes to fill in the kicking game for Temple. No more Maddox Trujillo. It's Carl Harden, who they are really high on. This one from 45 yards, and it is perfect. Plenty of leg for Harden, his first attempt of the year, and the kicking game appears to be in good hands. He's all fired up. Temple ups the ante. Temple going 10 plays, 54 yards on that last drive, and Carl Harden, his first field goal attempt as an Owl. He was awarded a scholarship this spring. One of the first things that Casey Keeler did when he took over this program in the spring, one of the first scholarships he awarded out was to the redshirt sophomore out of Raleigh.
And a great honor for him, and it's about celebrating guys that do things the right way for Casey Keeler, and just so many examples. He talked with us about kids doing great things on and off the field.
Maddox Trujillo had the kicking duties last couple of years. Of course, he had the historic moment a year ago with his bomb of a field goal, the 64-yarder, which was a Lincoln Financial Field record. It is Harden's show now, and a good start for him after a busy week of kicking point afters at UMass. He connects on his first field goal. Let's go to Howard. This offense, after really getting bottled up their first two drives, put it all together the last time we saw them. 13 plays, 75 yards, and a big reason was Starks getting hot throwing the football.
And the protection was better up front. The Bison going with two tight end sets and just giving him more time to throw the football. And Sean, I liked how they went with some tempo and just felt like they had a sense of urgency.
Trying to bounce it wide is Kearney, and has nowhere to go. A couple of defenders up there, Cameron Stewart, Lewis Fry, the Viper. Loss of two.
This is an athletic linebacking core for the Owls, and they do a really good job of recognizing where the ball is and shedding blocks. Middle of the defense. Very physical up front, rangy on the back end.
Good to see Avery Powell back in there. He was shaken up earlier in the game. Second down and 12. Starks hit, and he is sacked back inside the 20. Cameron Stewart again. He's playing a new position this year, and he has excelled as a rush from the edge.
He's a load, 6'5", 250 pounds. Just beats the right tackle. And the success for Howard was because of the protection on the last drive. Now protection is falling apart, and Temple taking advantage of it.
He's always been a hand in the dirt type of player up until this season. They saw him run. Defensive coordinator Brian Smith made the move, and it's looked great for the first couple of weeks. Starks is just going to have to tuck it and run, and Howard is going to be forced to give the football back to Temple late in this first half.
That pass rush again, getting into the backfield, only rushing 4. And Starks very wisely just gets out of it, tries to pick up what he can, and that drive did not go as planned. Again, that front 7 for Temple just asserting their will up front.
Cameron Stewart, a TFL and then a sack. Good series for the fifth-year senior, and now it's going to be Allen on to punt for the third time. Temple's going to get the football in great shape. Joe Bermudez comes rushing up, lets it bounce, now picks it up off the bounce, and he is surrounded by Jersey, stays on his feet. It's about as creative a 2-yard return as you're going to see from the elusive JoJo Bermudez. Evan Simon and Temple ready to go back to work. Inside 2 minutes to go from Philly. Some of the early news and notes across the American. Memphis with the 5-game win streak. That's tied for longest in the nation. You saw Memphis last week in their week 1 victory. Talk about a wide open race. Memphis, Navy, USF, Tulane all picking up votes in this week's poll. And then the return of Casey Keeler to the Northeast. Started Temple with a win last week at UMass.
The American is a deep conference, and it's wide open. Just like you said, Sean, I think a lot of teams have opportunities to have big years.
First down, good starting position, but nowhere to go. That is a secondary sack. Noah Miles in the backfield, able to bring down Simon.
Miles using his quickness on the edge. Does such a good job in those one-on-one blocking situations, winning up front.
Temple forced to use their second timeout. Second time they have gotten to Simon. An Owls offense that was clicking in the first quarter. 3 drives, they scored on all 3 of those drives, but here in the second quarter, a little more than 5 minutes of time of possession. They have a field goal to show on their previous drive, and now this one starts with the sack. Noah Miles, and this Howard defense maybe starting to get a little bit of traction.
Yeah, and they had success on those big drives because of opportunities on first and second down, picking up positive yards, and for the Bison doing a better job here, getting settled in their defensive line, making some plays.
Miles anticipated on being the bell cow of the Howard defense all year. Having a good first half. Second and long. Crossing pattern is juggled and dropped incomplete. Off the fingertips of Bermudez.
And Temple trying to get Bermudez, not crossing route, get on the run and pick it up with yards after the catch. The ball just a little bit out in front. Bermudez feeling the pressure coming his way, couldn't hold on.
It's a whole new looking secondary for Howard. All 5 starters from a year ago gone to graduation. Bermudez getting looked at by the trainer after that last play. Third down and short. They go to this screen, which worked earlier, and it's going to work again. Bursting into the secondary, keeping his balance and tumbling inside the 20. Xavier Irvin with his first catch of the year.
Same play call. Third and long. Last time, quick screen here. Irvin gets it again. The offensive line out front doing an excellent job pushing their guys back, allowing the speed of Irvin to shoot through.
44 yards to Irvin. He only had 3 catches last season in this Temple offense. He gets his first this year. A huge third down conversion late in this first half. This is where they love to go to their big tight end. Clark, the H-back to the right. They're going to keep it on the ground with Worthy. Makes one defender miss. And Worthy, who's not a big back, love to see that, finishing his run, squaring up the shoulders.
I think the goal here for Temple is score a touchdown, number 1, and 2, keep the ball on the ground. Let's use some of this clock. Not allow much time left for Howard to get the ball back. This offensive line, on those inside zone plays to the left and the right, they're finding success with the cutback lanes.
Plenty of time. Temple still with a timeout as we cross inside a minute to go in this first half. Empty set for Simon. Evan Simon looking left. Little hitch in front of the end zone. Touchdown. For the second straight week, Halloween finds pay dirt.
And the defensive back slipped. Halloween takes advantage of it being physical coming off the ball. Just an easy throw from Simon there. The DB slips down. Halloween just turns his head. Wide open touchdown for the Owls.
The 44-yard screen play to Irvin, the key play for Temple on that last drive on 3rd and long. Howard had them 3rd and double digits. Screen to Irvin, and Simon with yet another touchdown pass. Halloween, 2 touchdowns in his first 2 games as a Temple Owl.
And the wide receivers are making plays for Simon. Casey Keeler very creative with their play calls, getting different guys involved in the game plan. Everybody seemingly getting touches, and they're producing at a high level with 31 points here in the first half.
It's been quite a journey for Halloween, who originally was recruited as a quarterback by UCLA in 2021, but then he transferred and he really journeyed across the United States. Quarterback in the UCLA room in 21, did not see any game action. Then he transferred to Grambling State. That's where he switched to wide receiver, had a few catches that season because it was a crowded quarterback room. He was simply too good of an athlete not to play, so they found a spot in the receiving corps. Then he went the junior college route, but wanted to go back home as far as the West Coast to Riverside for a year and put up good numbers there, and now an opportunity to showcase his skill set in the American.
He's found a home here. He's producing, and he's a guy that Simon has really forged a connection with in preseason camp, and he's gotten off to a good start with last week's production as well as here today.
Evan Simon, 3 touchdown passes in this first half to 3 different receivers as he is spreading it around.
And he looks so comfortable running this offense, and early on, Worthy getting it going on the ground, then Simon showing off the arm strength, finding Bermudez, and then Colin Chase getting the touchdown, slipping out of the backfield, and Howard finding a response. Sean, they needed to get something going, but Temple just been through the air and on the ground, very balanced attack, and Evan Simon very efficient running the offense.
Spreading the ball around, all the different weapons that they have on the edge at the receiver position. Worthy out of the backfield as well. There's a lot of Jay Ducker on the first couple of drives. We really haven't seen him all that much in the second quarter. Howard not playing it aggressively with just one timeout. They want to get into the locker room and regroup a little bit. And there is some ominous weather in the distance, so obviously eyes are still toward the sky as we move into the second half as far as any type of delay or weather moving into the Philadelphia area. James driven out of bounds, stopped the clock. This game got off to a half-hour late start, originally scheduled for a 2 o'clock Eastern kick, but lightning right before we were ready to kick off delayed us about a half hour, but fortunately it has stayed away and we've been able to get this first half of football in. Two teams entering week 2 with a lot of optimism after last week, taking a shot downfield, looking for his true freshman Simmons, and that will be the final play of the first half. An impressive home debut for Temple, taking care of business against a team that on paper coming in they thought they could move the football against, and for the second straight week they are having no trouble getting this offense going. 317 yards of offense for Keeler's Owls. Simon 3 touchdown passes. Worthy has a touchdown run, and this hard-hitting defense has been up to the challenge. 31-7 Temple at the break. Welcome back. Halftime here in Philadelphia. Don't forget the American on ESPN Plus is home to over 40 college football games, over 1,000 exclusive live events, and every American Conference championship throughout the entire year. For more information and to sign up today, visit stream.espn.com. When we come back, Maria goes in-depth with Casey Keeler. 3+ decades of coaching, all with the same result: winning football. We'll learn more about Coach Keeler on the other side as our coverage continues from Philly.
Welcome into Studio A. I'm Maria Tribalpiece. Temple football officially opened the Casey Keeler era with a 42-10 win at UMass on August 30th. But the foundation of Coach Keeler's vision for the Owls program has been in place since his hiring in December of 2024. Prior to the start of the 2025 season, Coach Keeler shared his vision for the Temple program and his plans to return Temple to the national spotlight.
Win number 272 all-time for Casey Keeler. It's his first in cherry and white. He's 1-0 as the head coach of the Temple Owls, and he gets the Gatorade bath at midfield on his way to the post-game handshake.
The success I've had has been I've had great players. I have always hired great coaches around me, and we've developed a culture. You know, this past year we were down 22 points to a rival. And when you go down 22 points to a rival, and you know that your fan base isn't going to be real happy at the end of the day if you lose, we didn't worry about losing. We worried about winning. And we came back and drove down the last drive of the game and kicked the field goal with about 6 seconds left to win. That's what culture is. And that was a culture win. And that's what I talked to our team about. In this place, there's a brand. It's just we have to get that culture back. I think I'm very genuine. There's a lot of love and trust. And I talk to the players about you can't love or trust somebody unless you know each other. It's building a family. That's what a culture is. And so that's been my style. You know, Temple tough. You're looking for guys with grit. And that's what I told them in the team meeting. I said, fellas, we have a brand. It's now we have to develop that culture around that brand.
Stay tuned for second half action here on ESPN+.
Halftime from Philadelphia. Temple out in front of Howard, 31-7 at the intermission. Just the second meeting between these two programs, the American and the MEAC colliding today. Sean Kinney alongside Jay Sonhalter and Jay Evan Simon last week at UMass. 6 touchdown passes for the Owls, and he has looked sharp once again this afternoon.
He looks confident, and he's very precise with his decision making and spreading the ball around, Sean. Just sitting in the pocket, reading the defense. And the number one key is protecting the football, but he's done more than that. Really highlighting this passing game, and his team has shown so much confidence in him directing the offense.
A lot of different weapons that Keeler brought in this offseason. 8 completions to 6 different receivers. 3 different receivers catching a touchdown in that first half. And look at the monster numbers put up by Temple in the first half. 317 yards of total offense, averaging nearly 10 yards per pop.
Well, we talked in the open of the broadcast about winning up front and running the football. It's pretty dominant, 174 yards, and there's balance to this offense and picking up first downs. That's so defeating if you're a defender for Howard, as you see Temple just moving the ball down the field methodically.
When you look at these two teams and what they have coming up next week and beyond, 31-7 at the intermission. What's the main goal right now for Temple and for Howard as they get ready to dive into MEAC?
I think Casey Keeler talked to his team about, hey, let's come out, finish strong at 0-0 right now. And I think if you're a defender, you want to pitch a shutout here in the second half. And if you're on offense, you want to continue to win at the line of scrimmage. And for Larry Scott, his offense showed a flash there in the second quarter on offense, did a good job protecting their quarterback, but they've got to find a way to manufacture points here, and I think he's pleased with his pass rush, but they've got to find a way to slow down this passing attack of the Owls.
Larry Scott talked about pushing the reset button following last year, and the way he described it, he hit a hard reset. You turn it off, you unplug it, you plug it back in, and then you turn it on to see what the mindset is. And he just felt that the culture needed to take it up a couple of notches, you know, and really embrace winning again. He felt that urge, that competitive drive had just slipped a little bit, so he made a couple of personnel changes. A lot of these players that were younger now stepping up. Year 2 is what he considered the key year for them.
And it was the growth and development of the players in the program, and then bringing the right guys in through the portal to make sure they understood what it meant to be a football player in this program. And I think some of the personnel changes on the coaching staff was needed, and new voices to be heard from these players.
He has been such a incredible recruiter throughout the years, from his days in the ACC, the SEC. Keep in mind, Scott was the interim coach for Miami to close out a season. So a wealth of experience and a lot of recruiting pipelines. And on the return, a little bit of room and space to work for Anthony Reagan Jr. Good return out to the 31, a return of 28 yards. And Howard offense that will go to work. But you go back to that recruiting cycle for Howard. He says they're hitting that massive DC Metroplex very hard. And they're going to established high school programs where coaches are really tough, that hard love, if you will, with the student athlete.
And that was an important note he made to us, was going to programs where they have a winning pedigree and getting guys from programs that know what it looks like to win state championships and have winning records, and then bringing them into Howard with that mindset.
Howard has the brand, the #1 private HBCU in the country, according to Forbes. Founded in 1867, the high academic demands with their student athletes. Burst of energy here from Kearney on first down, and he will run out of bounds up past the 40 to the 41, driven out by the Nebraska transfer, Javier Morton.
Only 50 yards on the ground in the first half, and that's something they want to establish in order to have success this year on offense. They've got to be able to run the ball and help complement the strong arm of Starks by keeping defenses at bay, especially with this offensive line that they feel can potentially be good.
12 yards for Kearney on the first play of this second half from scrimmage. They go right back to him on the boundary side, and for the second straight play, it is Morton, the free safety, driving him out, but not before Kearney picks up close to 5, second down.
And Kearney, a big back, 205 pounds, runs with power, good speed on the outside. And for this offense, he's going to be a key player as they go throughout this season.
He has played a lot of football. He actually played for his older brother in high school, Sebring, which is the town that Coach Scott grew up in. Sunshine State connection, the pipeline to Florida. Play fake for Starks, pressure up the middle, and he is sacked. That was Chroma for the second time today. But there is a flag down as he got that hand up around the head of Starks.
Personal foul, face mask, number 0, defense. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic, first down.
You love the pass rush from Chroma. Kind of got held there, fights through it, but then the face mask comes through. He's just got to do a better job of getting that arm lower and going towards the body. Great job fighting through the block, though, and he's got the length that you look for. 6'3", 280 pounds up front.
Keeler actually brought Chroma to media days with quarterback Evan Simon. Those two became really close on that trip. They were actually roommates for the 2 days they were there representing this program at the American Conference Media Days, and they have really been two established leaders, as evident by the jersey numbers that they wear. 0 for Chroma, number 6 for Evan Simon.
And Chroma has the pass rushing ability. I think what stands out with his game is he's so versatile against the run. 280 pounds, he's got power, and he can set the edge, and they ran right at him. And there was no yards there. He just pushed the lineman back, and with that length, he can create problems for an offensive line.
They move him out wide now at the rush edge position on second down. Rare time for Starks. Flag flies in the vicinity of a hold as the pass falls incomplete, looking for Jackson.
Chroma got held. This is going to go against Howard.
Holding, number 66, offense, 10-yard penalty, second down.
Derek Mister, the backup right tackle. Redshirt junior out of Gary, Indiana, the guilty party.
And Chroma, again, just his presence getting into the backfield, making it difficult, and he just had nowhere to go as he's being held, and there he is, number 0. What an honor for him. One of those single-digit players.
Single digits and what it means. The Temple Tough, which has been around. Coach Cheney on the hardwood implemented it. Chroma Chase Simon Atten, the first ever special teams player to earn that distinction. They set up that screen and it is sniffed out perfectly by Morton. Boy, he is having himself a series. Javier Morton, that is textbook.
Yeah, this defense is playing on fire right now. Talk about Chroma. He flies to the backfield with this screen. Look at 0 right there. Again, hands go up, and then you finish it off. Great job being physical by Morton coming up from his safety position.
James had absolutely no chance. Again, they continue to work James in and out of the Howard offensive rotation on 3rd and a mile. Time for Starks. Looked like he wanted to take a shot deep. Now he's going to run, and wisely he will sidestep toward the safety of the out of bounds. A little jawing from Tyrese Whitaker as well. Casey Keeler, the first one over to grab him, and I don't want anything silly after Starks runs for 7.
Coach Keeler over there on the sideline just pushing him back, showing his toughness from his old playing days as a linebacker. But this defense just playing so fast, and the intensity over on the sideline.
It's about as animated as you will see Casey Keeler.
Yeah, he's exudes confidence and calmness, but there he's making a point to his defender.
Allen will try to pin Temple deep. This is a line drive, returnable kick. JoJo Bermudez. Bermudez gets to the outside. And he will take it across midfield, steps out of bounds at the 46. There was a helmet down on the turf back at the 30. One of the Temple players lost their lid, just no hang time. This is tough for a cover unit.
And Bermudez knows how to set it up. He goes towards the left, then a quick cut back towards the right, sets up his blocks up front, and his speed can change the game. we see in the background everybody raising their hands because they saw the open lane he had, and he can flip the field position for his offense.
Return of 37 yards for Bermudez. They really have two weapons in the special teams game. Tyler Stewart, he can be electrifying, one of the fastest players on this team, and we've seen Bermudez getting the last couple of opportunities. Excellent starting position for this opening drive of the second half of the Temple offense. 317 yards of production in that first half. They run the option, and there is no one close. Open room for Jay Ducker. Stays on his feet, now cuts it back, and is finally lassoed down at the 15. 32 yards for Ducker.
They go towards the left side, and the wide receivers doing a nice job of running off the defenders. Colin Chase and Ryder Cush, and that allows the open lane for Ducker, and then he just swerves it back towards the right, refuses to go down, and he is such a talented back, combined with that vision of setting up the defender, making the cut, and getting around the edge.
Saw a steady dose of number 20 in the first quarter. Didn't really see him all that much in the second, but boy, we're getting caught up quickly with Jay Ducker. Untouched for the touchdown, 15 yards.
He's a special back, Sean, in this offense. What he can do, his array of skills, catching the ball, running the ball, catching pitches, and here it is, just inside zone. They've run it all day long. That backside clears it out and allows Ducker to just sprint right up the middle.
He was the one player from Sam Houston that followed Keeler to the northeast. Jay Ducker had a real productive year, rushed for over 700 yards for Keeler and Sam Houston a season ago. We asked Keeler about that. He said, this is a guy that there would be no scrutiny of him following me to Temple. He's that type of character in the locker room. The teammates would quickly know what he is all about. It's all about production for Jay Ducker. New surroundings, same result for the talented back. This is The American on ESPN. After a half-hour weather delay to kick off the festivities, off and running here as we are into the early stages of this third quarter. Again, all eyes continuing to monitor the radar. Rutgers had a monsoon, it looked like, an hour ago. A lot of rain up in this part of the country throughout the next couple of hours. But so far, so good here in Philadelphia. Temple on that last drive. It was simply the Jay Ducker show. A couple of carries, finishing with that touchdown. Get all of ESPN college football all in one place with the all-new ESPN app. Unlock with the ESPN Unlimited plan, or you can log in with your select TV provider. Howard offense getting ready to go back to work. It's a wonderful setting in the nation's capital. As you look at the Howard campus and all the different schools. They're the only HBCU with a School of Divinity, a School of Medicine, Law, Business, national leader in STEM education. Takes a special type of student athlete to compete at Howard.
Delay game, number 1, offense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
With the academic demands.
Well, and Coach Scott's very cognizant of what his players do off the field and those demands in the classroom, and he's just really impressed by what they are able to do in the classroom and what how they represent the university.
Hated seeing that, though, after the change of possession, the delay game, 1st and 15. This is James. You talk about the academic demand. Here is a perfect example with Eden James, who was a late arrival to camp this year just because of all the work that he had to do as far as the admission process goes to get accepted into the very prestigious School of Business at Howard. He had to put in all the time academically, make sure everything was turned in. The good news, he was accepted, so he's now working on that part of the phase. Just an incredible young man, both on the field and off the field, a real role model for this team. 2nd down and 10, Starks near side, broken up. What a special moment, Jay, it was for Eden James last week, playing in the stadium where his father, Edrin, made so many memories, the 11-year veteran and that remarkable run in the NFL.
Yeah, and playing in that stadium where his dad represented Miami, and you know, he had a big 4th quarter against Florida A&M, a couple big catches where he was able to move the offense down the field to set up that game-winning field goal.
He came up to Coach Scott right before that drive, tapped him on the shoulder and said, "Put me in." As Jay mentioned, a couple of key catches to put them in field goal position. Starks able to escape one, cannot get rid of the West. He heard the footsteps. Pressure coming that time from Cameron Stewart, who has made a living in the backfield today. And Howard with a 3-and-out. That's the 3rd sack today for Stewart.
This is an impressive pass rush. Watch 25 Stewart just push his man back along with Sultan Badmus, number 55, and Stewart continues to play through the whistle, just hustling to bring down Starks.
Busy day for Liam Allen, back on to punt. Does a much better job, his best punt of the day. This one will send Bermudez way back inside his 20. Picks it up at the 15. Bermudez weaves his way to the 30. Has a blocker downfield, blows by the punter. Flag comes in. Bermudez still on his feet, and they're not going to catch him. A wall of blockers to the end zone. Touchdown, but there is a flag down, and Larry Scott says this one's coming back. 85 yards, JoJo Bermudez.
During the return, holding, number 86, return team. 10-yard penalty from spotted foul. First down, Temple.
All for naught. Irvin, the guilty party.
And he's just trying to make a play to help out Bermudez. Look at this return, regardless of it being called back. Just the cuts, the vision, the stiff arm, and making it happen here on the edge. They had him continue to fight, getting through. Not sure where the hold was.
Yeah, it was with Jones, Jay Jones, number 44, real brief. He got that hand up on the jersey, and Irvin, who has a catch, he had that big screen catch earlier in the game to keep a scoring drive alive. 67-yard bomb uncorked by Allen. And take a look at number 86. You're going to see him grab the jersey of 44 in silver right there.
There it is, yep. As Bermudez is trying to get around, just held it long enough to turn that shoulder pad.
That wipes out an electrifying return from Bermudez. Temple starts at the 22. Will hand the ball off, and the new quarterback in there for the Owls is Giovanni McCoy. McCoy, the transfer out of Oregon State. West Coast product of Baldwin Hills, California. 6 foot, 195 pounder, and extremely talented.
It was a battle between Simon and McCoy during camp. And he presents a lot of challenges to a defense with his legs. He's got a quick release. Casey Keeler feels like he's got two really strong quarterbacks.
He will keep it straight up the gut. This was a quarterback battle prior to UMass where Keeler did not announce the starter until the Sunday before that Saturday game. It was that tight. And McCoy made it tight with a really late camp push, had a 5-touchdown performance in a late scrimmage. Obviously, he has the track record, the resume that can certainly showcase what he can do when the spotlights are on.
And they both had bright days in camp where maybe one guy was the leader, another guy took a back seat. But I just think that competition, it builds confidence in both players and brings out the best in each guy.
McCoy will keep it, and they will keep the drive alive, but he lost the football. It's still loose, and it comes right back to him as he was on the ground. Howard had a couple of opportunities, but they just could not jump on the loose ball, and it will be an Owl first down.
And McCoy here gets to the outside and put that ball away as Howard claws at it. You see him in that right arm. There's the claw, knocking it loose, and then he just stays with it. And as that ball squirts around, jumps back on it.
Wesley stripped it. Smith had a chance to jump on it. Just went right through his arms. Now Worthy stretching it to the outside, and it was taken down. Good job there by Zuri Watson.
McCoy just stays with it, regains possession as he was fighting for extra yards. Good job from Wesley, though, knocking that ball loose.
2nd and 3 as we approach 6 minutes to go in this third quarter. Irvin in motion. He will get the call, running to the right side. Stiff arms one defender, but help arrived. Good pursuit. Messiah Thorne, one of the first ones in there from the secondary.
This Temple offense, 7 different rushers in this game and 6 receivers catching passes. Everybody has been involved in the game plan for Casey Keeler.
Third down and 2. McCoy will get rid of it quickly. It's the tight end Clark, and he will make the catch and the first down. Giovanni McCoy, after a couple of really good years at Idaho, made the move up to FBS. Spent last year at Oregon State, up and down year, but he had a really good showing in his start against Colorado State last October.
Yeah, big game, and did a lot of damage on the ground in this one, but showed his ability to throw the ball as well. And coming into Temple, the coaching staff saw what he's able to do in the past and at Oregon State with those bright moments, and gave him an opportunity to compete for the starting job.
He's the FCS Rookie of the Year, his freshman campaign at Idaho. Followed that up with a strong sophomore year, but never really got it going in Oregon State. That's when he made the decision to hit the transfer portal. It looked like initially he committed to Texas State. Looked like he was going to head that direction, but after spring, they had a loaded quarterback room. There were 4 quarterbacks. Nothing was really settled, so he hit the portal, and Keeler jumped on the opportunity to bring him in, some experience, and really push Evan Simon like you talked about. It's worked out well as you've seen the production they've gotten from Simon so far.
I think when you have 2 quarterbacks in that room with the experience, it really helps out, and kind of another set of eyes over on the sideline, and both these guys competing for the job in preseason camp. And KC Keeler says, hey, listen, there's no time restriction, but I want to get both in the ball game, and a great opportunity for McCoy here with a 31-point lead.
Joe Smith getting some touches. Temple's been solid on 3rd downs today, 5 of 6. They move the pocket, they flood the field, pass is caught, 1st down, Irvin, and then he is popped at the 25. Good open field tackle made by Joseph Tabe. That's a special number for Howard. You see jersey number 2, and that is to represent the great Antoine Bethea, Howard safety from 2002 to 2005, and longtime NFL veteran, 14-year career.
Standing job with the Colts during his career, and somebody that's done so much for this university.
17 yards in the completion to Irvin, his 2nd catch of the day. Now this is Chase on the jet sweep, and he is inside the red zone, swallowed up at the 18. It's a pickup of 7.
But the play calls for Temple, they do such a good job of mixing in the screens, the deep passing plays, the jet sweeps, misdirections, inside zones where they run right at you, and giving different touches out to the wide receivers. And Colin Chase, one of those guys, as a wide receiver, he's very dangerous, but also they'll get him involved in the running game as well.
Montana State had 3 1,000-yard rushers last year. Of course, the great quarterback Tommy Mellott that offensive coordinator Tyler Walker worked with and developed throughout his time in Bozeman. Smith through a little bit of a crevice, cut down about a half a yard shy, bringing up a 3rd down as we approach 2 minutes to go in this 3rd.
This offense sitting at 425 total yards thus far, and they've just been able to do it on the ground, through the air. Everything is clicking, and this, they knew it was going to be a big challenge. Howard and Larry Scott trying to slow down this offense, and what they saw against UMass was pretty impressive last week, and Temple's come out and really done the same thing here today.
Working their magic on 3rd downs on this drive. They'll try to convert another here. McCoy will lob it to the freshman Cush, who makes the catch. And it will be another 1st down. Ryder Cush, the true freshman out of White Rock, to high school at the Hun in New Jersey, son of a great soccer player, a Canadian striker.
He's going to be a great player in this program. 3 catches last week in his first collegiate game, and they're just falling into the alley area, the safety valve for McCoy.
Temple found him at a player showcase back in May, and he fits very well with the heavy tight end scheme that Walker likes to run. Back shoulder, front pylon. It is caught for the touchdown. Giovanni McCoy, his first touchdown pass as an Owl. Joquez Smith, his first touchdown of the season.
Sean, this was a perfect pass to Smith on the outside. You said it, back shoulder. Look at McCoy, read the defense. Cush clears it out, one-on-one coverage on the outside, and Smith turns his shoulder right after he crosses the pylon, turns, and McCoy places it right on his hip.
Giovanni McCoy, his first action of the day, and he orchestrates a 13-play, 78-yard drive that eats up over 7.5 minutes. The only blemish on the drive was when he put the ball on the turf, fortunate to get it back. Other than that, he looked in command of this offense, capped off with the touchdown pass to Smith.
Temple's offense putting up 42 points last week. Here, 45 today. McCoy coming in the ball game, relieving Simon. Nothing changes. Touchdown to Smith, and the Owls rolling.
Two quarterbacks feeling pretty good about their game right now. Evan Simon on the right, 8 of 10 today, 174 yards, 3 touchdowns. We get our first look at Giovanni McCoy, a transfer from Oregon State. He goes 4 for 4 on his opening drive, 37 yards, including the touchdown pass to Joquez Smith. Casey Keeler made it crystal clear when he was hired on December 1st that he was looking for a veteran quarterback to really bring up the competition in that room for Evan Simon. Those two have become so close, not just on the field competing with one another, but off the field, really supporting and helping each other. And as the flag flies on this return, you know as well as anyone, it's a long college football season. To have two quarterbacks of this caliber is only going to bode well for the Owls as they go deeper into conference play.
It gives you depth at that position and just the competition level. Anytime you have somebody behind you, somebody vying for your position, it raises your level of play. And you're right with the team. To have two guys back there that you have confidence in provides a lot of depth in this long season.
There are 2 fouls, both by the receiving team. Holding, number 7, that penalty's declined. Holding, number 44, receiving team, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Timeout in the action. Howard will have it deep in their own end. An overcast Saturday here in the city of brotherly love. The American on ESPN Plus is home to over 40 college football games, over 1,000 exclusive live events, and every American Conference championship throughout the entire season. For more information and to sign up, visit stream.espn.com. So after the holding call, Howard will start deep in the shadows of their own end at the 10-yard line. Tyreek Starks. He will keep it, little RPO action, and dumps it off at the last second. Looks like a new quarterback in there, and that is Jayshon Scroggins. So Scroggins, last year's starter, redshirt junior out of Las Vegas, preseason All-MEAC pick, but that was before Starks arrived in the nation's capital. You see what Scroggins did last year: 9 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. He was the backup to Quentin Williams for a couple of years. Had his chance a season ago, battled Starks for that starting nod this summer, but coming off the bench. And similar story, much like Temple, to have 2 experienced quarterbacks coming up in the MEAC, another luxury for Coach Scott.
And just competition in that room. And Larry Scott has a lot of confidence in Scroggins, but bringing in Starks felt like he could make that room even better and let both guys battle for the position.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 74, offense, 15-yard penalty. The down counts, 3rd down.
It's a frustrated Sam Hill, the talented right guard, super senior, his 2nd season at Howard. Starks' day appears to be done. 7 of 14 in his 2nd start for the Howard Bison, 34 yards. He has the 1 touchdown pass, added 20 yards on the ground. Just did not have a lot of time today against this flying Temple defense. The Owls in control as they march to the 4th, looking to start the year 2-0.
You have to pay close attention here in play number 1. It looks like that South Florida is going to punt the ball, but Lachlan Hewlett, he throws the pass, finds Keyshawn Singleton, who runs it in for a touchdown.
Some of the great talent that you will find each and every week in the American as we move into the fourth quarter alongside Jay Sonhalter, Sean Kinney with you from Philadelphia. And the game's first takeaway from Temple as the Owls' Adrian Lang comes away with the interception. It had been a clean football game. Scroggins trying to force it, and the redshirt freshman comes away with his first career pick.
And just over on the sideline, you see the whole team huddle around Lang. One-on-one coverage on the outside, turns at the last moment and really turns into a wide receiver. There's Lang turning, catching that ball, securing it. Great job in coverage, and look at the rest of his teammates coming over to celebrate.
This team having a lot of fun through the first couple of weeks. It has been a brick wall, just 3 yards per play. Stewart has a pair of sacks, Cameron Stewart. Now they get the first takeaway from the backup lane. Temple will go to work on the shovel. They dish it up ahead. Irvin just had a busy day, takes it inside the 20. Scroggins on the headset, learning moment for him, putting his defense in a tough spot.
I've just been so impressed, Sean, by this Temple team, not only with their starters, but some of the reserves coming into the ballgame and the energy that this program is playing with. This is a different team from last season to this year.
17 yards in the completion. Daniel Evert, the tight end, the H-back left. And they will hand the ball off straight up the middle. This is Hunter Smith, the fifth-year senior. Michael Grandy coming in with the stop. Casey Keeler, a lot of things he wanted to implement in year one, and one of the big things for him was to reclaim this territory, this recruiting area in the Northeast.
Yeah, he's done a great job of keeping guys at home, and look at that first 2 ball games. I don't know if it could have gone any better. 87 total points, and they've just been dominant with almost 1,000 yards of total offense.
They have spread it around in the backfield. A lot of different players getting involved. 8 different players have ran with the football as Smith gets tripped up just when it looked like a hole was opening up.
And Casey Keeler, Sean, really focused on his recruiting from Connecticut down to Virginia and then out to Ohio. That's the footprint. That's the area that he really wants his staff to dive into and find the best players that are good fits to bring into this program.
Program that has won in the past. They had 5 straight winning seasons from 2015 to 2019. Hit tough times of late, but Keeler trying to change that. 3rd down and a big hit coming up. On the secondary was Grandy again. And Temple with 4th and about 1.5 yards, and they will keep the offense on the field.
When we talk about the recruiting, it's easy to see why players would want to come here and play for this staff. When we've met with these coaches this week, they're just great guys that know football and that believe in this program and looking for the right players to come in and bring in that winning attitude, something that Casey Keeler has done throughout his career.
4th and 2 for McCoy. Smith comes back to join him. He flanks the transfer to his left. McCoy to throw, zips it near side, and a conversion in front of the sticks, making the catch Antonio Jones, and it will be 1st and goal.
And this offense just continuing to move the ball, pick up first downs, some reserves in the ball game. This is good experience as McCoy looks down the middle, then to the outside as Jones gets separation on his out route.
Jones, the 5th-year senior, the team's 2nd leading receiver from a year ago. Dante Wright was exceptional for Temple last year. McCoy with a couple of options. He will dump it underneath, and Irvin makes the catch. Late flag. This will probably be the personal foul on the late hit in the end zone, and Xavier Irvin with the touchdown.
There is no foul for offensive pass interference. The ball was caught behind the line of scrimmage. The result of the play is a touchdown.
So the play stands. Urban has the touchdown. McCoy, his second short touchdown pass of the day.
There's a misdirection with Irvin hiding behind the line of scrimmage, going across as McCoy rolls out, throws it right out in front, easily gets in the end zone, and this offense throws so much out of defense, so many different guys getting involved, and Irvin's had a good day.
Urban had only 3 catches the entire season a year ago. Last grab was his 5th of the day, his first touchdown, 5 catches for Urban.
Number 82, offense, 15-yard penalty, replay, first down. Correction, number 84 was the fouling player.
So you don't see this every day. Looks like they have taken away the touchdown, and they've changed the original call, which was the pass interference, and they're going to go back to that interference call as you take another look. Going to call the flag on the tight end, Evert, who is downfield blocking. Keeler wanting an explanation. What's so bizarre about it, I agree with the call there, but to go out and pick up the flag and then come back and change it is what was out of kilts a little bit.
Yeah, it looked like they just didn't communicate that, I guess, quick enough before they signaled the touchdown was good.
This takes it back to the 19, wipe out the 6. They go back to the ground with Hunter Smith. Tight end Evert with the interference as he was engaged the entire time, and he was engaged as the ball was in the air. That's what they hit him with.
He was just trying to make a play, and a little too early. They just didn't communicate that, and then eventually they moved the ball back.
Plenty of international flair with this Temple roster. Evert, one of 7 international players as he hails from Germany. Jersey getting stretched by Smith, and that was Green who put his bear claw on it and drug him down, bringing up a 3rd and goal. Now, real quick, Jay, you go back to Temple's past and some of the coaches who have come through here: Todd Bowles, Al Golden, Steve Adazio, Matt Rule, Jeff Collins, Manny Diaz. A lot of folks forget Ryan Day was part of the staff here in Philadelphia. Incredible list of names. 3rd down, McCoy dodging, and now he'll just go down, crumble down before he was hit. Nice job containing by Cam Dyson. And Temple, for the 2nd time today, will send out Harden for the short field goal.
And this is a Temple team preseason, tied for 11th in the American. That was the preseason poll, but I think it's evident that this team is a different team from last year, and I think the expectation should be high with what we've seen through 2 games.
Harden, who connected on his first career field goal earlier in the game from 45 yards. This one officially from 30. Placement down, kick on the way, and for the 2nd time this afternoon, it is perfect. Carl Harden, a solid debut here at Lincoln Financial. The band plays on for Philadelphia. year 13 in the American for Temple, and last year no American representative to the college football playoff. I have a feeling that could change this year, Jay.
Yeah, I'll make a prediction. They're going to finish higher than left Temple, and I think there's a chance for the college football playoff for the top of this league. There could be a representative from the American because of the talent and the coaching. I think this is a deep league, and there'll be some bright spots this year in the American.
South Florida with the impressive debut over Boise State, who many people predicted to be the representative from that group of 5. Statement sent by the Bulls in South Florida with Brent Brown and what he was able to do offensively. It's going to be a wide open race. Now we're going to find out a lot about this Temple team over the next 2 weeks as they get ready to really buckle it up. Oklahoma, Georgia Tech over the next 14 days.
And Oklahoma playing Michigan tonight, and then they'll be coming in here to Philadelphia, and Temple be looking forward to that ball game. And then Georgia Tech, we saw that what they were able to do to Colorado in week 1. So 2 big tests upcoming for the Owls.
.42 on the road last week at UMass. They put up 48 today with Howard. Casey Keeler. 9.5 minutes away from moving this team to 2-0. Keeler had so much praise for Howard yesterday in our meetings. He talked about Jaquez Ezzard, who was a Howard transfer, part of his Sam Houston national championship team. He was the MVP of that national championship game, and he was going through a long line of athletes who have rolled through the Howard program throughout the years.
And he knew this would be a tough test for his team and wanted to see their improvement level from week 1 to week 2, and knew that there would be some challenges, but I think he's going to be extremely happy with his team's performance for the first 3 quarters going against Howard. And this is a team with the Bison that had a big victory against Florida A&M and came into this week with confidence after going 1-0.
It's been a blending of new faces with some veterans, and Keeler, along with his general manager, who was the first guy he brought with him from Sam Houston, Clayton Barnes, they sat down with every member of this Temple football roster for 4.5 days. Talked one-on-one with each one. Safety blitz, Scroggins throws, but this one sailed, looking for the tight end, Montrell Walker.
I think the key to that communication and getting to know the players is building chemistry with the roster. I think it was so important with Clayton Barnes, the GM, and Casey Keeler to be on the same page as far as their personnel and bringing these guys into the culture that they wanted to develop as a staff.
Colin Chase awaiting the punt. Liam Allen, who uncorked a 67-yarder the last time we saw the freshman, the true freshman. End over end kick. Chase with the fair catch at the 37. 8:13 to go, 4th quarter. Temple in control. And all Temple since the opening whistle of this one, 48-7. Howard will look to regroup next week with Hampton. We'll have them in a couple of weeks. Then they travel to Richmond to try to slow down the Spiders, Sacred Heart. And then they get ready to dive into conference action.
And for this team, just finding a way to regroup, rebound from this ball game and kind of look at things they can get better at will be the key for them getting in preparation for Hampton.
Giovanni McCoy on the keeper, and he cannot get free. He was pursued by C.J. Wesley. Wesley has had himself a day, the redshirt junior out of West Orange, New Jersey, 4th year at Howard. Another one of those players that the coaches singled out yesterday as somebody that can really thrive in this new defensive scheme instilled by Kaishawn Jarrett.
With you have C.J. Wesley and Noah Miles on the edge, I think that can be a strength with this defense overall, and the defensive line is very good for the Bison.
Tackle for loss of 2 by Wesley, 2nd and 12. Hunter Smith, big hole opening up, and now he spins his way. Smith in a foot race down the near side, tight roping to the 5, touchdown! 65 yards for the 5th-year senior from Little Rock.
Just an amazing run by Smith. 6 carries on the day. Spins, stiff arm, uses everything to get into the open field, and then the speed, hops it in, and then glides into the end zone. And what a run. Great effort, great vision from Smith.
He was doing that in the Sun Belt last year for Louisiana Monroe, getting some touches in this 4th quarter, and a 65-yard beauty from Hunter Smith. Another busy day for the right foot of Harden. All smiles along the Temple sideline. Hunter Smith rushed for over 500 yards last year for the Warhawks. He's changed the colors in 25. The Temple Owl from 65 yards. Temple has unleashed 539 yards in their offensive barrage today, 55-7. They lead it over Howard, a little more than 7 minutes to go in this fourth quarter. Jay Sonhalter, Sean Kenny with you, our crew from Philadelphia. Day that started with some ominous skies. We were in a lightning delay, pushed back the start of this game a half hour, and despite the threat of a lot of bright colors on the radar, somehow we have avoided the big storms directly above Lincoln Financial Field, although it looks like they are drawing closer and closer. We won't be walking in the streets of Philadelphia, I have a feeling, tonight, Jay.
Yeah, we may need an umbrella if we do venture out. But I'll tell you what, this ball game delayed. I really thought Temple handled that delay well, coming out strong in the first quarter.
Busy weekend here in the city of brotherly love. Thursday night, the Eagles unveiling their championship banner, the world champions. That was unveiled right before a thunderstorm rolled in and delayed the second half of the Eagles' season opening win against Dallas. Packed house here in Philadelphia, obviously, for week 1 of the NFL season. Howard from the 25, and he will hand the ball off. First touch of the day for Billy Roberson. He's a good-looking freshman. They are high on him. Dante Pollard with the tackle for Temple. Roberson, the redshirt freshman that the coaches mentioned frequently yesterday. He had a lot of offers coming out of high school. The Lake Orion star, Louisville was interested. Bowling Green, the Chippewas up there at Mount Pleasant, Central Michigan, all taking an interest in Roberson.
An opportunity for some of these guys now with playing time in this ball game to put out good tape and try to earn more time in the upcoming weeks.
Scroggins is destroyed as he let that ball go. Man, he paid the price. Passes reeled in for Howard. Dropped, excuse me. Cobb could not control it to the ground, so third down. I was keeping an eye on Scroggins to make sure he got up. Man, he really took a hit.
This is a tough quarterback room with Starks taking big hits earlier in this game, and last week Scroggins as well. I mean, these guys will throw it and wait till the last second, giving their wide receivers time to throw it. And that's a big one that he got up from.
Howard team in the past that has put some scare into FBS teams when they come in as an underdog. Just couldn't get it done today. Taking a shot for Walker, and this one over the tight end's head. That hit here that he absorbs. Ooh, my goodness.
His feet kind of up in the air as he threw it and just gets knocked to the ground. Still was able to throw an accurate ball.
One thing about Larry Scott, if you know him as a coach, and he's had a lot of success on different staffs coming up through the years, whether it was his days at Miami, Florida with Coach Dan Mullen, and now as a head coach in year 5. You might be wondering, why is he throwing the football? Why is he stopping the clock? He is the ultimate competitor. And like you mentioned, Scroggins a chance to get reps. This offensive line now with some new bodies in there, a chance, to prove their point and continue to build depth, because their goal is to win the MEAC and get back into that Celebration Bowl.
I think it's also instilling confidence in his guys. Hey, we're not just going to run the ball even though we're down big. We're going to continue to try to attack and try to create some big plays. And, right now for his team, there's been some struggles, but I do like how he tries to open things up for his quarterbacks and give guys a chance to make some plays.
The 31-yard line. On first down, 5 yards. Smith the carry, Noah Miles the stop. You know, you mentioned this defense for Howard, and even though they've taken it on the chin today, they were so good last week, and this is going to be a really good defensive unit throughout the year. Keyshawn Jarrett was brought in, the first-year defensive coordinator, and he was part of the Bud Foster system from his playing days at Virginia Tech.
And Bud Foster, year in, year out, always had one of the top defenses in the country, and he was underneath his tutelage, and Bud Foster actually came to visit Howard in the preseason, and boy, Larry Scott just loved what he's been able to do to help out the program and just that knowledge that he's brought to them during his visit.
Yeah, when Coach Scott was on the staff at Miami, he always he kind of chuckled. He always talked about his battles with the Bud Foster system and how do you attack it, how do you approach it. And he said, the heck with it, we're going to go 12 personnel, we're going to run it right at him.
He discussed just the week preparation, getting ready for a Bud Foster defense, and just how difficult it is because he's got different blitzing schemes and guys coming from all over the field. It's very hard to prepare for.
This is Smith who is being attended to, Joquez Smith. So they attend to Smith. Scott, in trying to rebuild and get that championship culture back for Howard, really went back to his days with Dan Mullen. And Mullen always stressed a great defense is going to win you championships. So that's why he felt there was a need to improve that side of the ball, to change up the scheme a little bit, really become a more aggressive defense, an attack mentality, and as their motto goes, to strike fear, something they have up in their locker room each and every day.
He made the comment to us, defense comes first, and he wants this team to be built on that side of the ball to complement the offense, and he wants a group that's athletic and can run, and he feels like this is a group that's going to continue to develop. Very strong last week. Today, obviously a tough day, but this is a team and a side of the ball that they really feel like has the pieces in place.
Smith gingerly making it off the field as they run the jet sweep. First touch of the day for Bryson Goodwin, the redshirt freshman from Tampa, pushed out by Ben Chandler. Take a look at these numbers, UMass and Howard. So you look at the competition, yet you play who they put up against you on Saturdays, and Keeler's bunch has performed.
I mean, Sean, explosive. I mean, those numbers just jump out at you. But the thing that I think Coach Keeler is going to be most pleased with is the discipline that they played with, the ball security, 0 turnovers, and just how this is a group that really everybody gets involved. And we talked in the open about running the football. I mean, they've been able to do that in both ball games at a high level.
I thought it was a pretty telling statement when Casey Keeler said in his 32 years of coaching, from when he arrived in Philadelphia back in December to where we are now, he said the offensive line as a whole witnessed the most growth he's ever seen in 3+ decades of coaching. That's a telling statement.
It's profound. I mean, this is a group that when he got them, thought they had a ways to go, and they've surpassed his expectations, and you can see how well they play together, the communication up front. I haven't seen busts today. It just seems like they're all in unison, all 5 guys, along with the tight ends.
Davray Venu, Canadian, making his way off gingerly as he heads to the bench. So Temple taking a couple of late injuries, the running back Smith, and now their backup guard Venu. Offensive line that is healing. They were without the services of Kevin Terry last week, one of their more experienced players at tackle. Terry getting healthy, and you get him back into the fray along with Luke Watson, and all of a sudden you're 7-8 deep on this offensive line, and you're going to need it when you have Oklahoma and Georgia Tech on the horizon.
Man, these are going to be fun tests for the Owls to see where they're at. After going 2-0, you have the Sooners, the Yellow Jackets, and then you get into conference play starting October 4th.
been pretty much all McCoy in this second half. Starter Evan Simon worked the first series, and ever since it's been Giovanni McCoy, the transfer from Oregon State. Third down give, and they're not going to get there, so a fourth, call it 2. No gain on that play. 4th and 2 for McCoy and the Owls as we cross inside 3 minutes to play in this fourth quarter. If you're just joining us, Evan Simon started with a bang. Running game of Jay Ducker. They built a 21-0 lead at the end of the first quarter, and it's been pretty much cruise control ever since.
And really coming out to start off this ball game, they were dominant, and they just consistently been good throughout this ball game. Special teams had a couple big plays, and again, I think the offense and defense have really complemented each other well, and running the football has kept the defense over on the sideline and keeping them fresh today.
Dante Atten on the punt. First punt of the day for Atten, the junior from down under, goes into the end zone for the touchback. 2:19 here in this fourth quarter. Tyreek Starks, second straight year that is taking snaps. Incidentally enough, it was Starks and Simon who squared off last year. Starks representing the Owls of FAU, Simon right here in Temple, and it was Simon who won that game on a last-second field goal, 18-15.
And this year, Simon coming in with the same team, and Starks coming on the road, and it's not going his way today, but I think he'll have a really good season in Simon. I mean, what a job. And all that hard work that he's put in the offseason and getting on the same page with this new coaching staff has paid off.
First down give on what should be the final play before the 2-minute timeout. We wind it down as we hit 2 minutes to go from Philly. Temple, for the second straight week, put this game away. 55-7 Owls. 2 minutes left in this one. Temple 55-7 over Howard. They're visitors from Washington, D.C. They bust in yesterday. Pretty much everybody bust in. They had a couple of players who were ill. Tim Artis, the starting center, who was limited today, along with Israel Lucas, the defensive tackle. Those two took a train in just to err on the side of caution. Good to hear that they are both feeling better and should be good to go following the bye week. We were talking off air, Jay, about Temple looking ahead. Obviously, Oklahoma, Georgia Tech, and then you really dive into the heart of the season with the American, a wide open field. And we saw the preseason prediction of 11th, and we both agree this is too good a team to finish 11th.
This is a really good team, and if you protect the football and can win the turnover margin, you're going to give yourself a chance in every single ball game. And I think that's what Coach Keeler is going to be so pleased with after watching this film, is seeing how the big plays his team has had, but they're playing with the right approach and giving themselves a chance because they're not giving the ball away to their opponent.
Yeah, second straight week, but they have not coughed it up. You know, you look at situational football, third downs. They were so good a week ago. Today, even better, 8 of 12. They were 4 for 4 in the red zone last week. Today, they go 6 for 6. So they're winning the situational football battles, which in the long run will win you a lot of football games.
Yeah, and he talked this week about the improvement from game 1 to game 2. And you know, last week was really good, but there were some things they wanted to clean up. And I think right now, he's going to go back, watch this film, and be very pleased. But his message next week is going to be, hey, listen, we've got the Oklahoma Sooners coming in here. We've got to raise our level even to the next level and continue to progress and clean some areas up that, you know, he'll find on film. Every coach will find some areas, and he'll go back, look at this, but he's going to be pleased with the victory.
I thought it was interesting when he said, watching the film, and he watched every single snap of last year's games, that they were maybe 6 to 10 plays away from winning 6 games. He says this was a better team talent-wise than a lot of people thought. That's how close and razor-thin margin a college football game can be.
Yeah, and, you know, he said, I didn't have to come in here and change everything. You know, there were players here, and I think that gives confidence to the guys that they retained, and he just wanted to give some of these guys a fresh start. Hey, listen, no expectations, whatever's happened in the past, you have a clean slate. I think that really enabled these players to continue to progress in the offseason and get to this point where they're playing at a high level.
His wife Janice, such a big part of his life and his family, the opportunity to come back and get to enjoy life with his 3 granddaughters who are in this area. In fact, one of those granddaughters celebrated their first birthday last week, so Janice was not at the game. She was celebrating with the granddaughter on the beach.
Yeah, and when you have family close and grandchildren, those birthdays very important. You know, they came away with a big victory in his first ball game as a Temple Owl coach.
Doesn't have to rely on the Zoom calls where you see the grandkids go flying by the camera. They never want to talk on Zoom to us, do they? Business-like approach today for Temple. They will take a knee as victory formation for the Temple Owls, and they are going to move to 2-0 on this young season. Program that is trying to get out of the funk of 4 consecutive 3-9 years. 13-42 over the last 5 years. One more knee and that should be it. McCoy goes down. Handshakes, respect between these two teams and the two coaches, Casey Keeler, Larry Scott, as they both get ready to dive into their respective conferences.
And both of these coaches really respect each other, and I think, you know, for Larry Scott, this is a good learning opportunity that he'll go back and his team will improve from. And for Temple, what a way to start the Casey Keeler era.
That's the story from Philadelphia. For Jay Sunhalter, I'm Sean Kinney saying so long from Lincoln Financial Field here in Philly, where your final score is Temple 55, Howard 7. All games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.